Hi guys, quick one about news. I know a lot of people like to read the news, and it's good for keeping up to date with current events or finding out information. So it's like you're learning things as well as learning a language at the same time, which is pretty good. Um, the only one thing for Korean news is I find that compared to Western news, the difficulty is like just like way harder. So instead of just using like normal phrasing, it's like every single way that you could possibly phrase something is like in a different way. So they will always use like a hanja word for something that's like really simple, or like that they'll just try and make it as like more confusing than it needs to be. Whereas in the West, it's more okay. Yes, the prime minister is having talks, and then in Korean it'll just be like you'll have one phrase that you'll say with your friends, and then another it'll just that'll be what they say on the news. And sometimes they use like certain grammar that's used in like essays, and you'll see it on like certain videos, more scientific videos and whatnot, and sometimes maybe documentaries where they just use like a slight different grammar. But at the end of the day, you can just get used to it, and it's just like it's just another section of the language that you can learn. You don't even have to learn it, but eventually you'll get enough words. Eventually, your vocabulary will become big enough that you can understand most of it, and you just need a little bit of just looking up some things. Especially if you've never read anything that's to do with politics, there'll probably be like a bunch of politics words that you don't know, and this can happen in Western like languages as well, and maybe even English. If you're not into something, the chances are you probably don't know the words, but you'll know that their words like what you'll know what they're related to usually. But with Korean, I find that sometimes it can just be like you just have no idea. But eventually, you can get to a point where it'll be like, oh, okay, this is related to this. Especially when you see if you see just like a long word, it's just a string of characters. You don't know, even if you don't know what it is, you can generally tell that it's the name of something, like the name of a building or the name of a company or something, because they don't use spaces between the words. Even if it's like separate words, they will just use one. Um, sorry, one like just one word. Yeah. So how can we get into Korean news? So the first way is this book by Talk to Me in Korean. I would show you on the Talk to Me in Korean site, but it's not loading at the moment. So this news in Korean book is pretty good because it has 50 really short articles, and what you'll find is they still use quite difficult language. So you have 50 articles. They're just random dates. I think they just found them. They're different genres. Um, it can be about various things. Certain things you probably already know about in a way, but it'll just be a short article about that. So they're quite short. They have explanations, and they've highlighted the harder words, even though West Africa is not really a harder word, but most words that are harder will be highlighted, but that doesn't really matter because you can always just look them up yourself. So that they have a translation here, and then they have a summary and exercise questions, which is comprehension questions are really good in books because it gives you more to read, and because it's all in Korean, it gives you just extra reading practice, which is really good. And then also you can just check if you understood what's going on, even if you understood it from the English here. So it doesn't really matter. But there's 20 of these, no, 50 of these, sorry. There's 50 of these, so that book's pretty good, and it's 9.99, which is not too bad for a book, especially a Talk to Me in Korean book. But that is the Kindle version, and then the physical version will be a bit more, and then if you buy from the website, you have to pay shipping or whatnot. So another good website that I always see recommended is this Donga Kids. So this for me, I've looked at some of the articles, and I think the only real difference I can see between some of these and the articles on just a normal news website is that the topics seem to be a bit more just like a general knowledge kind of thing, not like a knowledge, but like just trying to teach you something, or like just oh this has happened, like this house builder, a 3D printed house is on sale, which is pretty cool. But a lot of these articles are nice and short, which is really good. It's completely free to use for anyone. So that helps. And there's just hundreds and hundreds of articles uploaded every single day. And this is what you want. Anything like this that you can just read every single day is just going to be fantastic. They even have things just like, oh, a new book's come out, and then they'll have an article on it. So, and then you've got different sections, various sections, and then you've got the most viewed per day, or just the most viewed in general. And then some of them are a bit longer than others, which is pretty good. They're quite long actually. So then you can use this, but I've found myself that there is not much difference except just the topic. The topics seem to be a bit different and not so much about like recent events or general events. So then we have I like this on YTN because there is like a new page that you can just look at everything, and then also if you click the articles, a lot of the articles, if it has a picture, it usually has a video, and then I probably won't be able to play the video because I've got ad block on. So if you have ad block, you're kind of stuffed. But when you have a video, so if you turn off ad block, it'll work. So when you have a video, they will usually have like the transcription underneath, which is really good for, you can read the transcription and then you can come back up and then watch the video, or you can watch the video with the transcription, whichever you want really. So then you also, there's many sites like this that you can use. Like, doesn't really matter which one. You can just type in news and go to any site, and then you'll have this kind of. But I'm not sure which ones have transcripts and which ones don't. So then there's also, if you go onto YouTube, you can find so many news channels. So you've got Channel News, which is it's got subtitles. All of them have got subtitles. This one is just mainly YTM for some reason. I'm not sure, but I was sure that there is other channels that do this. But then if you search news by channels, you can find so many channels, just ridiculous amount of channels and ridiculous amount of content every single day uploading. You've even got American news, even like local news, Gyeongnam, and then sometimes they have like TV shows on here as well as just the news. So they have like 40-minute clips of the daily news, so like the 5 o'clock news and the 9 o'clock news. All that is, I know it's completely random in countries. So you've got all this that you can get every single day. So that's really good. And then you've got pretty much everything you need that you can find on the internet. And the thing is, it's all completely free. But the way you want to do it is you want to set yourself some kind of schedule, because if you just read one a week, you won't really be getting used to the language that's being used. You'll just be seeing it once a week, and then you'll probably forget most of it anyway. So if you just do like 5 a day or just a couple a day, you'll get into it quick. Obviously, the more you do, if you do half an hour a day, you're gonna get into the words quicker and stuff. But I would suggest sticking to, so like on YTN you have specific sections. So what I would do is choose a section that you want to get into. So if you want to get into science, you just go for all the science ones, because the thing is, the amount of words used will be less in one section. So if you just went for the entirety of news, you're probably looking about 20,000, 30,000 words that will be used just all the time. And the thing is, they don't care because it's aimed at adults. And it's even, I would say that news is one of the highest levels of Korean content like out there. So you want to stick to one section, like especially a section that you're interested in, because you'll be more likely to read it, and then you can read the new ones, or you can even go like ridiculously far back to like 2014, 2010, whenever they started uploading news, and this is tons and tons of websites. You could even read the same articles, well, an article about the same thing on different websites just to get different viewpoints and more words and different phrasing and all this. So you've got so many options to actually get into news. And the thing is, you could probably do it straight away, but you would obviously be less conversational, or you would sound like a newscaster or something. But so first of all, I would suggest using like written. If you use written text, it's a lot easier to remember the information and everything. And then as you get more used to it, you can like swap just to completely doing like audio, and then eventually, if you can listen to audio news in Korean, you must be like a ridiculously high level. Because when I listen to the news, I just catch like half the words or like 70% of the words or something, and I just miss so much of what's actually happening because there's just so many words I don't know and people's names that I don't know. That's another thing, is getting used to people's names will help you a ton, because a lot of the words that you don't know will actually just be someone's name. I remember there was an article before, and it was like Jung and then Wang, and I'm like, Wang, what has this got to do with anything? But it's just the guy's name. So there's nothing you can do about that except just get used to who exists in the world. So it's kind of like uh, just learning that as well. So yeah, that's about everything.